Hi, I'm Ashley Gum. I'm in my second year of my master's program. I'm currently not in practicum because I am in a third year program, but I do start next fall and I'm so excited.
Woo! Hi, I'm Cassandra. I'm in my second year of the master's program, and I'm currently placed with the Riverside County um, New Life Clinic in San Jacinto, where I work with members who are court ordered, and we call them members there. I'm passionate about helping my clients, and I just want a good recovery for them, and I feel like I can help them get there.
Yes.
Woo! Hi, I'm Melody Mendoza. I'm in my second year as well. And I'm supposed to start with Operation New Hope hopefully next month. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we start practicum. And I want to focus eventually on military veterans. That's like where I want to work. I have a big passion for them. And I come from a family of military. So it's a big, it's my destiny. But super excited to just work with all types of branches. And yeah.
Yay.
I love that.
So we did our care plan assignment on Louis Zamperini from the book Unbroken. Um, so our identifying statement, he is a 47-year-old male and World War II veteran presenting with symptoms of post-traumatic stress, emotional dysregulation, and alcohol misuse following severe wartime trauma. Louis survived a plane crash in the Pacific Ocean, endured 47 days at sea, and then was eventually captured and tortured as a prisoner of war. Since returning home from that, he has experienced nightmares, hypervigilance, irritability, flashbacks, and emotional withdrawal. All of these which have disrupted his relationships and daily functioning.
And then, as far as the hypothesis goes, we hypothesize that Louis, his PTSD symptoms, such as nightmares, hypervigilance, anger, avoidance, and alcohol use, are interrelated. They stem from cumulative trauma exposure during combat, captivity, and imprisonment. His coping through alcohol and emotional withdrawal suggests unresolved trauma and difficulty processing grief and survivor's guilt. These challenges unfortunately reflect complicated trauma that has interfered with his emotional regulation, self-image, and perception of the world.
Now, after this, we came up with a diagnosis. So, our primary diagnosis is going to be based off of the DSM-5 TR. It's going to be code F43.10. It's post-traumatic stress disorder with delayed expression. The comorbid diagnosis is going to be alcohol use disorder in the moderate range. And then we came up with three differential diagnoses. The first one's going to be traumatic brain injury, or known as TBI. It was ruled out due to symptoms specifically on the PTSD, while TBI and PTSD symptoms can both overlap. Louis' memory and disorientation issues align more with PTSD than the injury itself. The second one's going to be adjustment disorder. It's going to be ruled out because symptoms exceed the expected response to stressors. And I do want to add that when we watch the movie, it doesn't really show much of the adjustment if he had any afterwards. We just know that he did a couple things like run a marathon. And the third one is generalized anxiety disorder, or and OCD. It's also ruled out because intrusive thoughts are trauma linked rather than general or obsessive. Our rationale, Louis meets DSM-5 TR criteria for PTSD, including the following: exposure to life-threatening events, as we saw in the movie, intrusive memories and nightmares, emotional numbing and avoidance, negative changes in self-perception and relationships, and the last one is hyperarousal expressed as irritability. Oh my gosh. Irritability and hypervigilance. And then alcohol use is a common comorbid symptom in trauma survivors, serving as maladaptive coping strategies. And then we also want to add that because he's in the military, it is a common thing.
Yes. Our theoretical orientation. We talked about trauma-focused CBT, specifically to restructure the trauma-related thoughts, address avoided memories that he has, and then to also reduce guilt and hopelessness that he's experiencing. We also talked about EMDR to process the traumatic memories without overwhelming distress. And then narrative therapy as well to help Louis rewrite his life story from a victim narrative to one of resilience and agency. And then we did also talk about solution-focused, strength-based principles. We thought that this would be really beneficial to empower his coping skills, reinforce resilience, and then also facilitate his recovery.
And with that all, we came up with a treatment plan based off of his like overarching goals. Something that Louis actually stated was, I want to be able to live without constant fear, nightmares, anger, and to manage my drinking so that I can have peace and reconnect with my family. So we took that and we came up with phases that will help his treatment goal. So the initial phase we would like to do within sessions 1 through 10. Our objective is to establish safety and therapeutic rapport. Our intervention for this will be psychoeducation on PTSD and trauma responses. Another objective for this time frame would be to reduce alcohol misuse. The intervention would be motivational interviewing and a referral to AA meetings. And then increase emotional regulation skills would be another objective. So this intervention would basically include grounding, mindfulness, and relaxation techniques to kind of keep him calm during the initial phase and build that rapport. For the middle phase, it'll be sessions 11 through 24. The objective for this would be processing traumatic memories. While we do understand that this can be very difficult, the intervention that we came up with was EMDR targeting prisoner of war and combat experiences. Another thing that we came up with as an objective is address maladaptive cognitions. So for this intervention, we use trauma-focused CBT for cognitive restructuring for guilt and hopelessness. And then we also decided to add improve interpersonal functioning as one of the other objectives. This intervention will allow communication and emotional expression exercises with the family. And then for the late phase, this will include sessions 25 and up, considering that we would have to go through the first phase and the second phase before we get here. The objectives that we wanted to include would be strengthen relapse prevention. So we know that they were going to, or we're going to include AA groups, but we want to develop coping routines and maintain peer support. So making sure that he continues to go to AA groups, maybe veteran groups, uh, just to keep tabs on that to make sure it's actually happening. And then objective number 2 for this late phase would be promote post-traumatic growth. Intervention includes exploring spiritual meaning, forgiveness, and personal values. And lastly, our objective will be to prepare for termination. Intervention includes review progress, develop long-term wellness plan. That way, Louis is able to continue on without the need of therapy.
So after his treatment plan, we did have recovery concepts, and this is going to be based off our one of our references, which is Davidson 2005. The first one will be empowerment. We will encourage Louis to take an active role in recovery himself. Strengths, it's leverage, resilience, discipline, and perseverance. Hope, reinforcement, belief in recovery and purpose beyond the trauma. Responsibility, promote accountability for coping and sobriety. So, encouraging him to want to become sober and take the actions to become sober. Respect, validate experiences and emotions. Holistic perspective, address mental, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. And lastly, peer support. So, we want to encourage him to connect with veterans and survivor communities. A lot of cities have veteran groups and they actually celebrate it. So it's really important to encourage him to look into where he lives and see if they have a group or they even have like bike groups where they can drive their motorcycles. So that's something that we want to encourage him to do.
Yes. Our prognosis of Louis presents as good. He demonstrates resilience, motivation, social family support. This all suggests that he will have a really good recovery potential. So, moving from that, it shows that our treatment plan will go very well.
And then for faith perspective, we actually came up with a spiritual reflection, and this includes forgiveness, and it's integrated to help Louis process in trauma, to reduce anger, and support long-term healing.
So for countertransference awareness, clinicians do have to keep mindful that they may feel admiration or over identification with Louis' heroism. Supervision, journaling, and adherence to evidence-based practices will mitigate bias and maintain objectivity.
Yes, consultations we have for Louis. So, we do encourage him to see his physician, maybe a neurologist that he can get referenced out to, specifically to roll out the TBI and then also assess his overall physical health and well-being. We also do recommend a dietitian or nutritionist. Um, this is for addressing his malnutrition and then the physical recovery consequences from coming back.
And then as far as referrals go, I know we mentioned some of them previously, but I did want to go over them again. This includes Alcoholics Anonymous, so AA groups, veteran PTSD support groups, or even the groups that Melody had mentioned, and faith-based counseling or chaplain services. That way he can stay aligned to his faith during this process.
Yes, so our references that we used is the APA or American Psychiatric Association. It's going to be based off of Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. This will be the fifth edition. The second one is Cohen, and it's just the Unbroken movie. There's a lot of directors and people that played a part in making this amazing movie. Highly recommend you see it if you haven't seen it already. It just shows the incredible Louis just never being, set down. He always pushed and just kept going, and it was amazing to see. And then the last one is Davidson, which we used for another reference that I mentioned, and it is a practical guide to recovery oriented practice, and it gives tools to transform mental health care. So it's from Oxford University. So I definitely actually recommend people reading that as well.
Mhm. Yep, and that is our care plan for Louis from Unbroken.
Yay!
Okay.
Yay.